Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chasing Optimum. I go to say 31 minutes sometimes, but I changed the name recently. I'm really pumped about this catch up because we're going to talk organics today. So I've got Eden Fanelli here.
G'day.
G'day. And he's a farmer, a real life farmer.
I don't know, in the flesh.
Before we jumped on, I don't like to talk too much because I like to share it on here with the one-off energy. Mm-hmm. But you were saying about your farm.
Yes.
Fifth generation?
Fourth generation, yeah.
Yes. So let's start there.
Okay.
All right. So you're a farmer. I buy food from you.
Yep.
And the reason you're on here is Lauren Hall, who lives in Queensland, she sent me your Instagram and said, you should buy food from these people.
Yep.
And then off on the journey I went. And your food is amazing.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Like every week I get so pumped. Like I put it on my stories and things. I genuinely get so excited. So tell me about your farm. Mm-hmm. Where is it?
Yep. Okay, so we're at Mangrove Mountain in Central Coast.
Which is Central Coast?
Yeah, so the hinterland in the Central Coast. So we're about 45 minutes from where you are here.
Yes.
And New South Wales.
Yeah. And what about, how big is it? I always try and work it out on your stories.
All right, so my farm is 45 acres, so 17 hectares, and then the collection of family farms up there. So we've also got another farm which is around 200, which we run. Yeah, so we run cattle and things on there. That's my mum's farm. Yeah. So
you own like most of Mangrove Mountain.
The king of Mangrove. I should have brought my crown.
So you were a PT before.
Yes, correct.
And then you went in. How did that transition happen?
Food has always been really a big part of our lives. Like, so from my dad's side, the Italian background, like food was really good, and I was really into rugby league. And every probably bloke who's played rugby league had aspirations of being a top level footy player, but a major injury, and it led me down a path of sort of training for recovery. And then I really, really loved training, loved the gym, just loved results, and it really changed my body. And then I just decided I wanted to train people, and I got right into personal training, and then did that for 10, 15 years, that as well as driving garbage trucks at night.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So getting back to the story of the farm, about 15 years ago, it looked like we're going to lose the farm, as in we would have to put it on the market so mum and dad could retire, and bits of family were passing away and getting split up. So I had to really work hard to work 2 or 3 jobs to raise the money to be like, yep, I'm going to buy the farm off the family and hold on to that legacy. So
no way.
Yeah. So, but that was, and I was in Sydney doing personal training at the time. So yeah. And then it's a really strange thing that happened. I guess I was just sitting on a train going to the early morning sessions at like 4:30 in the morning, going to get ready for the gym down in Circular Quay. And it just hit me. I was just like, it's time to go home. I want to go back to farming. Food's like, you know it yourself, nutrition is a huge part of every result when it comes to training. And I'm like, well, I've got this beautiful farm at Mangrove Mountain. Why don't I just go back there and grow the food that people need to get the results they want, health. So that's awesome. So I was just like, stuff it.
And there's you and your wife.
Yep, my beautiful wife, Louise.
Yep, and a couple of kids.
2 boys.
I see them helping on the farm.
Yeah, little Jude the dude. And
a new one, a newish one.
Yeah, Acey boy. Ace.
Yeah.
He's going to be a go of that little fella.
Yeah, that's a 5th generation.
Yeah, the 5th generation coming through. So our big goal right now is like we made the shift to organics when I first went out there, like started farming 10 years. I was like, I want to start organics. I'm really interested in that, like clean, healthy food, nutritious food. And and then hopefully the boys can make a choice when they get a bit older if they want to continue it on. But the big goal is we're going to hold that ground and just keep carrying the legacy of being on the mountain.
Awesome. Yeah. So can you tell me about, or we'll go on that.
Organics.
I've actually got a few questions written down because I thought about it. I wanted to capture what that really is, and I think so I don't know if a lot of people understand it.
Yes.
And I sort of do and sort of don't.
Okay.
So tell me the difference between an organic avocado and or lettuce and a non-organic.
So organics, basically, I think a lot of people just think organics is you're spray-free, chemical-free. that's just one small part of organics. Organics is right down to the the very microbial part of the soil, like everything from your soil to your farm to every single part of it is really super important. So it's about healthy. It's a really big question. I'm trying to work out how to explain it without taking a deep dive and completely boring people. So I guess to summarize it is healthy soil, clean soil, healthy farm, healthy produce, healthy fruit and veg, healthy people. So that's probably the way to summarize it, if that makes sense.
Because I think you're right. When people talk organics, is there fake organics? Like, is there? Because I hear all these
fake news.
Things.
I don't know.
So I think people, when they think about organics, they think it's chemical free.
Yep.
That's sort of the basic person.
Correct.
And is that true?
So organics is, in Australia and all over the world, there is a standard. So Australia, we have an Australian standard. So basically when it comes to organics, you have to follow, if you're a certified organic farm, you have to follow the standards and practices which are deemed by the government. And that is based on, I wouldn't say no chemicals. There are sort of types of intervention you can use on your farm, but most of them are naturally sourced products that you use on your farm. So an example, so a synthetic, I'm just trying to think how to explain it to try and keep it as simple as possible. So let's look at a spray. So you spray your plant for, say, like something like a mold problem. So in conventional farming, they would use something that's a synthetic spray that will stay on the plant, and then you'll have the withholding period, and then obviously it goes right into the molecular parts of the vegetable.
So it gets absorbed.
Right. Correct. Gets absorbed.
Yeah, we'll keep it normal terms.
Yeah, keep it absorbed, correct. Okay. And then organics is we use natural products that will try and do the same thing. So a household product such as baking soda, right? That's something I would use to try and combat fungal diseases in my tomatoes or fungal diseases in your strawberries. So like we're trying to use natural products to apply on our plants to sort of make the fruit and the plant healthy.
So when you're talking about the soil, Eden, just then, so a non-organic farm, what's the difference with their soil?
Well, basically, a lot of non-organic farms, like especially when you talk about your big cropping, like your grains and things like that, it's a very monocultured sort of farming. So basically, it's one crop in the ground. They introduce a lot of fertilizers, a lot of inputs that go into that farm. That basically, it's like juicing up the ground, but there's actually no structure to that soil itself. So it's basically massive hydroponic growing in open air, open space. That's basically what it is. Like you'll bring in your inputs to get the product to where it needs to be, and then basically the land's barren.
So it's got no nutrients in the land.
There's no actual like structure to the soil. It's not. There's no nutrients, yes, but there's no structure. So how we do it is basically, and it takes a long process, and it's taken us years. We basically we focus on doing cover cropping and integrated pest management. We work with the soil. Composting is a big thing of ours. So cover cropping, for an example, is we'll put a crop in, we'll rest that area for a while, we'll then grow specific grasses or legumes that we'll then terminate and plow back into the soil, let that break down so there's good structure. We try not to till the ground so much, as in we try not to cultivate as much so we don't lose soil from erosion. So basically we're just trying to build the soil up and make it as healthy as possible. That's the foundation. When you've got healthy ground, you've got a pretty healthy farm.
Healthy base. So when you say you don't, you give it a rest, so you move it across. So if you do
rotation,
lettuces over here, then you'll give it is that every time, or is it?
Yeah, well basically like we have a 45-acre farm. We don't use the whole 45 acres at once. So basically we have 10 blocks, as we call them, and we allocate, this is what we're going to do here for winter. And then we may not return to that block until 2 years later. So we do a massive, so we go a massive rotation. So in that time that it's sitting there doing nothing, sometimes I will put grass in, like oats, which is a really good winter grass, which creates a lot of nitrogen for the soil. In summer, we might do legumes, same sort of deal. They draw nitrates from the atmosphere that goes into the soil. Or even I'll just let the weeds grow, let the bugs go in there and just let it just go wild basically. And then when I need that ground in 2 or 3 years' time, I'll plow it all in. All of that breaks down and creates great, good compost, and also all that food and energy, natural humus and all that stuff goes in the ground. So basically your ground's nice and firm and good to work.
So what chemicals do they put in other stuff like from Coles and Woolies and these types of places? Like what's in them? I always wonder because I won't eat anything from there.
Yeah.
What's actually, because they talk about,
Glyphosate's a big one, right? So like Roundup is the big thing at the moment. So glyphosate is probably the biggest, like it's a herbicide. So basically it's used to kill the weeds. So before you put a crop in, you basically want no competition. So your conventional farm will just go in and they'll just use a glyphosate or another sort of herbicide to kill all the grasses, basically kill everything in the ground before they seed. So, and that's a residual spray or a residual chemical that will come in, and then they will treat things for pesticides. So if they have a pest problem, they'll use pesticides. If they have a fungal problem, they'll use fungicides. So basically there's a lot of other things on the market. It's not as bad as what it used to be. I'll have to say, like conventional farming has definitely come a long way since they started. Basically there was no rules pre-World War II. So basically they were using anything and everything just to, as farming became more industrialized. But now it's very, very regulated, but still there is those minute residues that would be in that product.
In that food.
Yes.
When you say pesticide, is that like a bacon? Is it the same sort of thing?
Sort of.
Is it like a bacon?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just
like
a big spray of it?
Yeah, big can of Mortine.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And people are eating that.
Basically, that's what it is. And it serves its purpose that it does eradicate the pest, but also it does eradicate other things as well, like your bees and your wasps and all your other your butterflies and all your other good predators, like your lady beetles. Like your lady beetles are a really, really helpful little bug that can get in there.
What do they do?
Oh, they'll go to town on other bugs.
Really?
Yeah, they're quite predatory.
I love ladybugs.
Yeah, they're pretty cute. So they're really helpful. So that's what we do. Once again, getting back to organics, like we actually have allocated areas on our farm which are like nature strips, which is basically we're trying to introduce pests and bugs to create like a little bit of a little ecosystem within there, which basically we do have pests, we do have bugs, but then we've also got good pests and good bugs that will be sort of going, and they're too busy fighting each other and warring with each other that sometimes they don't even pay attention to the vegetables, which is really helpful.
I know every now and then I get a snail in the lettuces from your
mate,
it's like you must put it.
Yeah, that's a door prize.
Because I love when I get your lettuces and they got a bit of dirt on them and they got it's like I just picture it, you're picking it straight out of the ground into the box. That's what it feels like.
But pretty much that's what we do. Like we focus on making sure that our product it's less than 48 hours, 24 hours. Sometimes even when I'm getting ready for market, I might be out picking an hour, 2 hours before I go to the market. So stuff is super, super fresh. And we get a lot of feedback, which is really positive, saying we got your stuff, and we put it in our fridge, or we put it out and we open the fridge 2 weeks later and it's still fresh.
Yeah.
Because that's like food miles.
Well,
don't worry. I was just saying.
I've got a spare fridge with all your stuff in it, and literally
thanks,
we get every week, and we just keep ordering the same, and we'll help people understand how to do that in a sec. But it's literally by the time it comes, we just keep rotating. It's the best in the world.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So when there's that sticker on foods,
yes,
there's no stickers on yours. What does those stickers mean in the supermarkets?
In what regard? What stickers?
Well, like on an avocado, you get like a little sticker it's got a yellow.
Yeah, well, that would be a barcode. So that's traceability for you. So even in conventions, they do have a regulator, which is like generally something called Fresh Care. So basically all farms in Australia have to be audited to some degree to make sure that their product is being handled quite safely. Within reason. Yeah. Okay. So got to follow some sort of standards, some sort of practice. The stickers are basically, they're going through big grading, like an avocado. Pick an avocado, goes into a bag, goes into a big timber crate, then it goes into the packing shed. The packing shed goes into a big packing plant, and it goes along a big line, and then they get barcoded and a sticker put on them to say this is where it is. So there's that traceability. So if they had to do a product recall or something like that, they know exactly where to go back to. Because obviously in the past there's been issues like I know there was a problem with strawberries a few years ago with an angry worker was putting needles inside the strawberries. So they actually have to have some sort of sticker or barcode so that they can trace back to which farm it's come from.
I see.
Yeah.
What does genetically modified food mean?
Genetically modified food is basically just how to explain it? We've been modifying food since day dot, right? So corn, sweet corn, once upon a time was maize. So we've modified it over thousands of years. All it basically is, to summarize, is you interbreed one variety of things. So let's say potatoes. You have one variety of potato. You interbreed it, so it just keeps on going into itself and into itself. And then you interbreed another one, a different variety of potato. And then they get so interbred that they can't actually keep breeding, but then you put those two together and it creates a hybrid or a GMO. So something that's basically, it will not reproduce, but it will take all of the good out of those two extremely hybrid interbred varieties, and they'll make a amazing big variety, like a hybrid, like a monster.
A monster.
So,
because Bill Gates does anything he touches, I would never touch. But it's like everyone talks about it like it's some. I don't know what it means. That's why I was asking.
Well, that's basically how I see it. Basically, they're just trying to make a superfood that is resilient to diseases, pests, anything. So basically, you just get the seed, you put it in the ground, and you don't have to worry too much. It's going to be very strong, very resilient. But the thing is that it will not pollinate again. It's only got its lifespan.
Just that thing, that one.
And then it's dead.
And seasonal. When I was a kid, used to go into the supermarket and you watermelon sometimes, and but now it's all year through. Like there's pretty much everything.
Correct.
So what are they doing there? And is it?
That's basically just food miles. Basically, like that's just in Australia, especially, it's such a big country. You know, in the Northern Territory, it's 30 degrees in the middle of winter, so you can grow. The soil's still warm enough to grow things like watermelons and things like that.
I see.
So basically, and there's only very small windows in the year that you won't actually have Australian grown products. So lemons or some things that they actually will get imported from overseas. And obviously there's that.
Well, they import lemons from overseas?
Of course, yeah. Mexico, they come from like...
Really?
Yeah.
Are there enough lemon trees in Australia?
Generally, it's like we're coming to the end of lemons now. So basically, lemons will start coming to an end now. And then you will start seeing lemons that are coming from, if you actually look at like you said, the sticker, you'll actually find their imports from America, like the USA and Mexico. That's where they'll probably get some of their citrus. You'll get Washington navels, like in the middle of summer, you'll get a navel orange, and that'll be coming from like America. They'll be coming from California or something like that. So, so the whole thing is the demand. Everyone wants a watermelon all year round. Everyone wants an avocado all year round. Yeah. So basically, the market's just followed that trend and tries to provide that. So we're not like that at all. We're completely seasonal.
No, absolutely. I get disappointed when I get on and it's like the menu's changed. And I'm like, oh no, there's no beetroot at the moment. There's no this or that.
I know.
Whatever it is. And last week or the week before, there was you sent out an email to Ash saying that the strawberry crop had something happen to it. What happened?
So basically what happened was it was just a bug infestation that comes in, which is just part and parcel of growing things in the ground and outdoors and being organic. You're susceptible to the environment. So a little thrip came into the flower and it just like puts a little bite on them, and basically then the flower is what creates the fruit, and then the fruit didn't eventuate. So basically we had a whole week out. Right now our issue is, when it comes to like your soft skin fruits, is basically we've had so much stormy weather and the humidity is quite high. So we'll get a lot of mildew problems or like mold problems. So basically we might have strawberries, for an example, or tomatoes this week, but we might have less amounts for next week, and then we could potentially be wiped out. But that's just how it works.
It's farming, isn't it?
That's farming, that's seasonal, and you just roll with it.
Your strawberries, I'm not just saying this, they are unbelievable. They're huge, and they're amazing.
Thank you.
Summer, can't get enough of them. I can't get enough. I can't. I think I buy about 18 punnets a time, and that's not even enough.
I'll have to show you a photo of Ace when he had his first strawberry. He's like, literally, he looks like a reindeer. He's got red on his nose. So yeah,
unbelievable stuff. Why do they grow so big and beautiful? Is it?
Composting.
They're like double the size.
Yeah, so basically the ground that once again, the whole rotation thing, ground that hasn't been touched for 2 or 3 years, lots of composting, lots of like composting is basically you get manure, raw manure, and you get carbon such as wood chips or anything, and you turn it and turn it and turn it for months and months and months, keep it at a certain degree, temperature, and then you put that in the ground, and that is all your food. You lay it down on straw and then water it, and they're really good this year because we are having quite a great year in just weather-wise. Like this is probably one of the best years weather-wise that we've had for a long time. Like,
are you always checking the weather chart?
It's the first thing I do when I wake up.
Do you go to bed some nights just going, oh, I hope the storm's not too bad, or like, because I never really thought about that. Your crops all outside and
yeah. So first thing in the morning, I sort of look at your Bureau of Meteorology, get it right, sorry.
Yeah.
App, and I'll have a look and I'll work out what's going to happen, like how hot it's going to be, and then that will sort of determine what is the most important job to do. So obviously we have irrigation, so if it looks like it's going to be dry, we want to make sure we keep certain things wet. Like if we've reseeded like carrots or we've put new seedlings in, we want to make sure that we keep them at their optimum. So we follow the weather a lot. But like I said, this year's been really good. That's why our produce this year is probably – it's also we've had the benefit of having a really good season weather-wise. Previous to this, we've dealt with a lot. Like we had a drought, bushfire, then that just all that rain, which basically I thought we were going to have a waterfront. I thought we were going to have ocean front at our place at Mangrove. It was that heavy, so that was catastrophic. So that basically we've had a good year weather-wise.
Do you believe in cloud seeding?
I'm sure it would. I'm sure
they do.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's been going on forever. Like there's stories of them doing it back in the early days.
Does it annoy you?
No, not really.
No, just roll with it.
Just go with it.
Yeah.
No, I just think you just got to adapt to what's in front of you. Like I think that's what happens. You know. You got to handle it. If you can't handle it, then don't be a part of the game.
Yeah. So the smell. Like if you go into a corner shop, fruit shop, it smells beautiful. Mm-hmm. You go into a supermarket, it doesn't smell like anything.
Yep.
Why? Is it the pesticides or?
No, I wouldn't say it's pesticides.
What is it?
I just think they've probably just got amazing air conditioning ducts that are just sucking all the smell out of it.
Yeah.
And like the way they probably present it is basically you walk in there, you've got your fresh fruit and vegetable. It's like beautiful, like aesthetically it looks amazing. But you know that a high percentage of people won't even pay attention to what's there, fresh fruit and vegetable. They'll walk straight into the aisles and go get Processed, correct. Yeah. So, I sort of sit on the fence when it comes to us versus them, when it comes to conventional and organic and those things. Like my personal belief is that we just need to encourage people to eat fresh fruit, vegetables as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your day look like? Tell me about your day. Like what's a farmer do?
We wake up really early in the morning, then bang our head against the wall for about 20 minutes and say, why the hell are we doing this? No, but I get up really early. So like it depends on what day it is. So most markets I'll be up. So I'll be up at anywhere between 2-3 o'clock in the morning some mornings. Yeah, I like to get up and sit in the shed for a little bit, have a coffee and just so I have my journals, my books. I look at that, sort of go through that. I'll get ready. Generally when I have my workers will turn up, like I have a couple of workers that come and help me, they'll turn up around 6 o'clock. I'll set them off to their days. And if it's, like I said, if it's a market day, it's all about picking and getting ready for the market. So picking produce.
Sorry, just on that, is the markets every day?
No. So we have 4 little pop-up farmers markets we do.
Oh, yeah.
And then we do a wholesale down to like people that do box deliveries as well and small little co-ops and things like that we supply. So that's what we pick for those markets. On days that it's not, same thing, get up nice and early. I love getting up early. I'm an early riser. I think that's the years, as you know, training and personal training, you just want to get in there and get it done. And basically it's just whatever's in front of me that day. Like it could be preparing to plant, it could be irrigating, it could be fertilizing, general maintenance. Like I said, we've got a 200-acre farm as well. We have cattle on, so we basically sometimes at the moment we had a bit of a lack of feed. So sometimes I'm cutting grass, foraging grass to feed them. So there's
always something to do.
Always something to do.
I hear it's the busiest job in the world, farming.
Yep.
But how do you get your main income? Like where's your income come from? Is it the farmers markets? Is it people like me? Is it shops?
Both at the moment. So we've actually had a bit of a shift. So we started with wholesale. So going right back to the 10 years when I first started, I just started with just sending stuff to the markets, and I actually had a little contract with one of the bigger food markets, like one of the big supermarkets. I had like through a wholesaler, but it was literally by the time they paid me, it was not worth anything. So then we transitioned. So we started wholesaling, and then now we're more into retail, like yourself, your pre-ordered boxes, your little pop-up farmers markets that we do on the coast, and then we have a carriage works. So that's really where our main income's coming from now.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Yeah.
And why does the government not support farmers more? Because you guys are critical. It seems like you guys, because I see a lot of things on TikTok and whatever else about farmers aren't supported enough by the big supermarkets. Why don't they take better care of you guys?
I don't know. It's interesting question.
I don't know if it's the government or the supermarkets, one of the two, but it's.
I think the biggest issue with agriculture in general is the fact is that the farmer himself is so far removed from the customer, and there's so many people in between that have to be paid and want to put their cut on top, that by the time it gets to the supermarket, the price there doesn't reflect on what the farmer's getting, because there's probably been 3 or 4 or 5 different hands that's had to go through that product, and they've had to add their little bit on top. It's like stomping on something, basically.
Yeah.
It's like the cartels, like as in that's the way I see it, basically.
Yeah.
As in, like, you know, you've got the farmer that's not getting, you're selling it for near to nothing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, by the time it goes through all the hands,
that much.
The government does help as best they can. Like, we do actually have a lot of probably incentives, like, you know, like we get a rebate on our fuel and things like that. There's no real, if anything, there's no real encouragement when it comes to pushing farmers in the direction of what's the better way that's going to create longevity for agriculture in a country like ours, which has such extreme weather. So I think that's the biggest thing.
What would motivate a farmer to go the pesticide way? Is it just assured that the crop's going to take or something?
Oh, it's just guaranteed. And there's pressure on them. There's a pressure on them because there's a quality pressure. Like, they've got to make sure that they have the top quality, and and it's ingrained in them. It's like the education is there. Like, they've grown up, like you're talking about farmers that have probably grown up their whole lives just knowing, okay, if you have this bug, you use that spray. If you've got this, if your plant's lacking in this, or the colour of the leaf's this colour, you use this fertiliser. So it's sort of ingrained in farmers that we have to use these products to get the plant to where it needs to be. And it's probably the cheapest and the most effective way of getting the product to where it needs to be. So rather than taking the long road and being like, well, I'm probably going to suffer for 2 or 3 years of doing it the more organic way and the more natural way, but in 2 or 3 years' time, my farm is going to be so goddamn healthy that I am going to be just as competitive and my product's going to be just as good, but I've got to suffer for 2 or 3 years. And you know, the climate that we're in at the moment, as in the financial climate, that's just way too much pressure for a farmer.
Got it. Yeah, understand.
Like, so that's huge overheads. Like, you know, it costs a lot of money to run a farm. It costs a lot of money to live on a farm. So for them to make that change, to cut out pesticides, so like you say, and go a more natural route, it's a big financial
I was
decision.
going to say, you must be pretty passionate. If you're going organic, you've got to be pretty passionate about the quality.
Yeah, we're very passionate about it. And it's I like the grind. That's the thing as well. I like the challenge.
Yeah. What about wastage? Supermarkets, your ones. I don't know if it was on your one or somewhere they said organic, they don't look the best, like your lemons and stuff like that, because they look so natural.
Yeah.
But the supermarket ones look like they've come out of a showroom, all of them.
Yep.
So is there a huge wastage on the other side where supermarkets won't take certain looking ones?
Yeah.
And yours, I like the rough, some are beautiful, but some of the rough and ready ones, they just look like.
Mate, they're just like me, mate. Rough on the outside, beautiful on the inside.
So do you have much wastage in your farm?
Not really.
No.
No, because like we're really grateful for like customers like yourself, like people like yourself, Matt, because you get it. Like, you understand, like it's not about perfection. It's about quality, right? Quality. You know, if you're striving for perfection just in life in general, you're sort of wasting your time. You're just striving for good quality and wholesomeness. So basically, yes, there is a lot of wastage when it comes to more of your bigger chains and your sort of conventional style, because it is all about people eat with their eyes, basically.
That's good. That's a good
They do.
saying.
Like,
That's a good saying.
Yeah, people don't eat with their stomachs. They don't. And like, you understand, and I understand, food is fuel. Let's put the right fuel in the engine to get the best optimum. But most people say, "Oh, that looks really nice. I'll eat it." They'll take a bite, and it probably tastes like crap. But they'll convince themselves it's good.
It's funny if I eat, not rarely these days, but if I eat something like at a restaurant or something or whatever that's non-organic, it tastes like nothing.
Yeah.
It literally tastes like nothing.
Actually, I've got a cool story about that.
Yeah, go.
So when Louise and I, we went, we took some time off. We took 3 weeks off, went and saw some really great friends of ours over in Western Australia. Hello, James and Alex. So I'm going to tell them about this podcast.
Yeah,
so they're like the most beautiful people. We hung out with them. And so we went down to Bustleton down there for just a couple of days. And there was this little restaurant, and basically they source all of their food from the farms around them, and they make whatever they can with the food that they have available on that day.
That's amazing.
And I'll tell you what, it was just because, like, the food, it's not like this Michelin star sort of amazing sort of setup where you're going like, and you're like, you understand, like those high end sort of restaurants. The food in that restaurant tasted like love. Like you just knew it, and I was so happy. We were just like, this is one of the best meals we've ever had. And you can go to the top end best restaurant in the world and be like, meh, that was all right. But you know what I mean? Like that's like,
I think that's the word, love.
Yeah.
It feels like everything you do on your farms from a place of love. That's what it feels like to me. Yeah, enrage. Depends what the bugs are doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do people find you? I just wanted to check. I haven't got any more questions here for you that I wrote down. How do people find you? Can anyone buy from a farm?
Correct.
Like, is it, because I didn't know about you guys before, and let's say someone's listening to this and go, bugger it, I'm not buying anything from the supermarkets now.
Yep.
I hope they don't anyway, because can they just contact the farm? What happens? Like we'll talk about how finding you, but if they're not in this area, do you send out to anywhere else or?
Well, we're very restricted from how much we can grow. So we're in only certain areas for us in particular, but there are a lot of farms like us in Australia that are doing the same thing.
Are there?
And the first step I would suggest to people is go to a farmer's market. Just find out where your local farmer's market is. There's heaps of them. There's like 2 or 3 on the coast. You've got Newcastle's got a big Newcastle farmer's market. Sydney's got farmers markets in Bondi, Carriage Works in Redfern. Like, it doesn't matter, whatever city you're in or whatever little suburb, like area you're in, really source out and see where the farmers market is and go there and find your farmer and just have a conversation. Find out where they're getting their stuff from.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of work. It's a little bit of legwork for probably the customer. But once you find your person, you find your people, then life's sweet.
I was going to say that. It's a little bit of work to set it up.
Yeah.
But once you get going, like we just get every week, email you a new order and away it goes, and you're at the website. So what's your website?
It's fanelliorganics.com.au.
And what's the furthest that you pick up from?
So we do pickups. So basically we have box pickups you can pick up at our markets on the coast. We have 3 of those locations, Avoca, Hardy's Bay and Woolwee. And then we got a Carriage Works down in Sydney, so people can pick their veggie boxes up. And we've also got our farm stand at Mangrove, so people can actually get in their car and come pick up their veggie box off the farm on a Sunday or a Saturday. Yeah,
because you're pretty good. You've delivered it to my house. Jackson gets it from somewhere else. And I suppose every farmer would be like that as well.
Oh, for sure. If there's something going on and we need to be able to deliver, like we'll always go out of our way to make sure the product's there. And our biggest focus is making sure that people get their freshness and it's all there ready to go.
Yeah.
Pick on a day, hopefully.
I have one more question. Well, actually 2 more. But
fire away, mate.
One more is about how long does it take to grow these things? Like a lettuce because I get amazed by it because they're so full and beautiful, but how long does it take to grow something?
From seed, it would take 4 or 5 weeks from seed to get it to a point where we transfer it or transplant it from its seedling into the ground. So you're looking at probably 12 to 16 weeks for most things. So everything you're getting now is stuff that we've planted months ago. And then we're constantly replanting and planting and following. Okay, so it's summertime coming up. This is what we've got going in the ground. So, like for an example, zucchinis that you got in your veggie box or cucumbers, we planted in August and then we're picking them now. So basically it takes at least 16, 20 weeks, 24 weeks to get to the product, to get to sale.
Right, and then you pull it out and then you let that ground rest and then is that what you do?
Yeah, basically, that's what we do.
Yeah, right, and just keep moving around.
Just keep moving around the farm, yeah.
How come your strawberries are different this week?
Strawberries? What do you mean?
Yeah, they're in a punnet sort of thing. Usually they're like a...
It just depends on what
are
we
they
have.
your strawberries, or I just thought your mate might have got them down the road because you ran out or something?
Yeah. Sometimes we there are a few little small farmers that we do get stuff from.
Yeah.
So basically, we've got a few punnets from another mate of mine who's a biodynamic guy.
Yeah, okay.
So we get the strawberries from him if we're running low on our supply. So basically, it's just based on what they're packaged in.
They're really good too. So all you farmers work together and...
Yeah, we work together. So I'm hoping that I can encourage more farmers at Mangrove Mountain to get on this journey, because there are a lot of farms on Mangrove. I don't think people realise how much of a fruit bowl it is up there and how many growers there is. And me personally, I love to see Mangrove Mountain become very similar to like a Byron Bay, where it's an area that is so in tune with their environment and pushing towards a cleaner farm, organic, biodynamic, permacultural sort of area. So I think that'd be really good, because we have the biggest population in Australia right now, right at our doorstep. Basically, we've got Sydney, Central Coast, Newcastle. Yeah, it makes perfect sense that all our farms convert and become organic.
That's so good. Look, I'll never eat a non-organic product again. And you've literally changed our family, the way we eat, the food you have. It's I can't rate it highly enough. And anyone listening to this, if they can get onto your website and see if you're in the vicinity, and if not, can you direct them elsewhere, or like?
Yeah, of course. Well, look, if someone's not in our area and they want to source it, like I know a lot of other organic farms that are all around like the state, I can always point them in the right direction.
Yeah.
Or and obviously say, oh hey, like we know this person through Instagram, can you go follow them? But that's really, thank you very much for that. Like that makes me feel very grateful, because that's our purpose. And farming itself, I think, and just me in general, and Louise talk about it, like our purpose is more than us. It's bigger than us. And when you turn around and say that it's changed your life and it's changed what you do, that puts the fuel, that adds the fire, that fire keeps burning a bit more and make us work a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So if we can get as many people on board being like that and changing their life, that'd be good.
Yeah, it's the key to health. It literally is the key to health. I talked to Tommy, the nutritionist who I work closely with.
Yep.
Everything he talks about is whole foods. Everything he talks about is organic foods. Unless you got that right, the rest is all over there.
Is Tommy the pod guy?
No, that's Mick, the pod man. Okay. Tommy's the nutritionist guy. He's,
I think I've heard Tommy
so
as
he's
well.
really good. So you're on Instagram, Fanelli Organics?
Fanelli Organics, that's us.
On Instagram.
Yeah.
So people jump on there, you can message you. You're pretty responsive when you're not on the farm. Yeah.
That's my wife who's responsive. Sometimes she pretends to be me. Yeah. So I'm pretty hopeless, to be honest, when it comes to that. Like I get in the zone and I'll be on the farm, and it's hard when you're working and someone's calling you or messaging. So I'm pretty good when just doing a few stories here and there. But my wife's she's the brains behind it all, and she's the one that contacts.
We just want you to keep working on the farm for all of us.
Thanks very much.
Eden, thanks for coming on, mate.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.